A VFL is going to join the show here today. Tell us about his experiences wearing the orange and white over 6 years and about a football camp that's happening in the Knoxville area this weekend. Got a special guest coming up here today on a Tuesday, Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Tuesday edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every single day. I am your host, Eric Kane. You can always find me on Twitter or on the X at _Kaner and the show at Locked On Vols. Got a fun one coming up today, and couldn't do it without our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Again, that's on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is America's #1 sportsbook. Former Tennessee Volunteer offensive lineman Ollie Lane going to join the show here in a couple of seconds to tell us all about his camp that's coming up this weekend over at Gibbs High School and a little bit about his time at the University of Tennessee. A good combo with Ollie Lane coming up here in a couple of seconds. Baseball on to the Super Regionals. Again, I had to record Monday's show before the decisive Game 3 of the Knoxville Regional, but Tennessee just cruised. Let's say all about that and Tennessee's opponent in Evansville in segment number 2, and then get into your mailbag questions in segment number 3. All that and more coming up today on a Tuesday show. Here's Ollie Lane. Ollie, this is the second annual Ollie Lane football camp over there at Gibbs High School where you're an alum. I remember last year when you were putting it on, a lot of promotion, great success, and excited to do it again this year, right? This weekend coming up.
Yes. This weekend, we're looking forward to it very much. You know, we had a lot of success, like you said, with last year's camp, being able to kind of reach out and talk to and teach a bunch of kids different stuff about football and getting them a chance to kind of be out there with a bunch of people that have done it for a lifetime. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do this year. You know, I think this year we're tailoring more towards that, like a VFL feel. Like, you know, we've got a bunch of guys listed on our promo that's played for Tennessee for a long time, and a lot of good teams at Tennessee too. So, I mean, it'll be nice to kind of get almost like 4 generations of VFL knowledge being taught to you. I think it's going to be something huge that we're going to be able to offer this year. You know, a lot's changed in those generations, but a lot has stayed the same. It'll be nice to kind of get information from all different types of football that people went through, because it's changed throughout the years. So I'm excited to kind of get out there and do some work again. I always love serving the community. You know, Gibbs has always been great to me. And so I love kind of doing that in return for them. And being a part of something like this is something that I very happy to do, and something that I'm motivated to do, to be able to give back everything that they've given me and more. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, Gibbs, great place. You know, I'm looking at a house out there in that area. Of course, my wife is from the Gibbs community. My best friend, a lot of my best friends are from the Gibbs community. So I love that place. And it's always great to get back to the community, man. You do it so well. And of course, I've had Dane on the show a couple of times, you know, promoting his camp, and he does it up there in Bluff City. And so I love that you guys do this. One of the greater parts of name, image, and likeness, in my opinion, is being able to give back. And that's what you're going to do this weekend. Of course, on Saturday, you'll have, it looks like, a couple different sessions, one with younger kids, 8 to 13, another one, you know, 14 to 18, and then a special teams, you know, kind of session in between that, right?
Yes. So, I mean, the way we kind of did it last year, we split it up in 2 days. But this time we'd like to just kind of do it in one day, which I think is going to work out a lot better for us. And then having those younger kids earlier in the morning, you know, they're going to have a lot more energy and excitement at that early morning session. And then kind of gives us a little more buffer room time with that older group. Kind of, we can get a little bit more into detail on some stuff that we want to teach them, and kind of maybe be able to do a lot more things. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think this year doing it in that 1 day format is going to benefit us a lot. And then also with that special kicking training session, and it'll also tailor to every asset of football, not just your big offense, defense, but also incorporate some special teams, because it's just as important.
Yep. I mean, it's a third of the game. Absolutely. And you got some pretty good VFLs over there to help. And Alan Duncan, I know him. Some other VFLs that are going to be in attendance alongside you. You got Brent Gibson, Johnny Hibbett. He was a good one back in the 80s. John Warren, who's going to be a part of that special teams camp, and then a non-VFL, but a guy that's big in the Gibbs community, obviously a coach and a former great running back over at Carson Newman, Andy Hibbett. So it seems like a lot of talent's going to be on hand, and of course a lot of the other Gibbs coaches, and I would imagine some of the Gibbs football players.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Hopefully we'll get some of them out there as well. I'm excited to work with this group. It's a lot older than the group that I worked with last year. And kind of like I was saying, like it's a different assets of VFL history. I mean, you got Johnny Hibbett, who was a center for the Sugar Vols team. You got Brent Gibson, who was the center for Peyton in his first year at UT. And then having the special teams guys from UT, being able to kind of teach them a little bit of what it meant to be a kicker at the collegiate level. And then even I think John Warren played for the Cowboys for 2 years. And then also Andy is just a legend at Gibbs High School. I always, when me and my brother both went there, always heard about all his accomplishments and everything that he was able to do there. And then even went on to continue to do at Carson Newman. So, I mean, it's huge to be able to have him on there as well. I think all these guys that are going to help me out with this camp this year have a lot of great football knowledge and know exactly how to kind of reach these kids and stuff in these camps, especially as being high school coaches and youth coaches. I think it'll help me a lot too of being able to tailor what I want to teach to kids more specifically and kind of hopefully get them to have more of a grasp on things to take home with them after the camp as well.
All right, man, we've reached our quota on nice things we can say about Andy Hibbett, so let's cut it there. But no, he's going to be out there, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, summer's here, and kids are out of school, and you want to look for activities and things that can be beneficial for them, just to get them out of the house, but also in their growth in the game and doing it the right way. I mentioned 2 sessions going to be Saturday over there at Gibbs High School this coming Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pre-registration is closed, but you are taking walk-ups, correct? So everybody's welcome.
Yes, yeah, no, everybody's welcome. We always take up walk-ups, and I'm not sure if pre-registration is closed or not. That I'm not 100% on, but I know that we will take walk-ups that day. I know in the youth camp is starting at 9, and then that older camp starting at 1 with that special teams training session at 11. So, and walk-ups are welcome, of course, and we look forward to having a great camp and a great start to all these athlete seasons this year.
Yeah, it should be a whole lot of fun. Maybe I'll make my way out there and just kind of get some eyes on it because it looks like it's going to be so much fun. Again, pre-registration, you get a T-shirt, and I think if you do a walk-up, you still might get a T-shirt, but there might be one that's not there anymore. But walk-up's welcome, just $50, and again, your chance to get your nephew, your son, whatever, just out and about and around all these VFLs sounds like a win-win. Wanted to ask you a little bit about Tennessee, though, man. Obviously, you had such a great career here at Tennessee, and you stayed through all the different coaching changes and the ups and the downs. But I mean, it benefited for you, man. You were part of one of the better teams in recent memory in 2022. You started this past season. Played a huge role and won a Citrus Bowl. I mean, how can you kind of sum up your time here at Tennessee?
It was definitely almost like hiking a mountain. There's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs, definitely throughout my career. But I would say it was very memorable and something that I'll always hold on to. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a Vol. And, getting that opportunity to play, especially for 6 years at the University of Tennessee, really meant a lot to me. And then also with this past 2 seasons, I mean, being able to be part of some of the lows of Tennessee football and then being on some of the high highs of Tennessee football is something that I will always cherish. Is being a part of that group that kind of helped put us to where we wanted to be and what the university and our fans expect of us means a lot to me. And then, I mean, last year getting to go out there and battle every single game and knew that my impact had somewhat of an impact on the game meant a lot to me as well. I've always wanted to be thrown in the fire in a sense and really take my own talents and stuff to assist our team in any way, shape, or form. And I was able to do that on a grand scale this past season, and it meant a lot. And but now I'm trying to get used to the non-athletic side of life.
Stuff.
And, yeah, figuring out what the next steps are. So.
Yeah, and you talk about being thrown in the fire. I mean, of course, you had taken snaps in practice throughout your 6 years and everything, but I can imagine for you and Dane specifically, when Ellerby and Heupel and Halsey or whoever came up to you guys about 12, 13 days before the opener and said, "Hey, we're going to slide you guys down to play center, so figure it out." I mean, that's literally being thrown in the fire.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can tell you it was very stressful going into that first game for sure against Virginia. Me and Dane, I think, spent way too much time in the film room just getting ready for it and doing a bunch of extra work to make sure that we were good. Because at the end of the day, I know I can block people, but I wanted to make sure that, number one job as center is you got to get that ball back there, and that's the only thing you got to worry about. So I made sure for both of us that we could take the worry of everything else that goes into playing center and just be able to get that ball back there. The less we had to worry about all the other stuff, the more that we could focus on like task number one. And I think that helped us out a lot. We kind of carried that through the rest of the year. We spent a lot of time in the film room, being able to prepare. So because we never knew what was going to happen, we might have to slide back there. I slid back to center a couple times throughout the year. I think last at the Vandy game, played majority of that game at center. And so, I mean, just continuing to be prepared. Then both of us just being smart guys on the offensive line, we pick up a lot of things quickly. And knowing exactly what everybody else's job is, because we played all five positions, helped us out a lot too, because we knew exactly what to tell everybody. And I mean, we built a really good communication system throughout all of our offensive line last year, and it felt like the communication was really there. And I think it's going to only take up this year as well with more senior leadership, and especially with the young guys coming into. They've kind of, when I was there, fell into the fold and really starting to pick up, especially near the end of the year, like what's expected and what all goes into it and how we communicate with each other. Because that's the biggest thing, especially playing up front, is you got to be able to communicate fast and effectively. And I feel like we're taking right steps and continue to take right steps into being able to do that consistently.
Well, from nearby Gibbs High School, he goes to the University of Tennessee, spent 6 years, and the last couple of years playing an awful lot of football, of course, starting. Yeah, I mean, it was every game this past year.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of time in 2022. And let's not forget, you were the starting, I believe, left or right. I think it was left guard for that Missouri game in 21, where that's the record holder for most rushing yards in a game, right?
Yeah. So, I got to be able to part of some very memorable moments at Tennessee, and thankful for it always. It means a lot to me to be able to kind of like hang my hat on a couple things that I did at the University of Tennessee. So
all those experiences and everything that he learned, Ollie Lane, he can teach to your kids. This Saturday, it is going to be a youth camp. Got a couple of different divisions, starting at 9 o'clock, ages 8 to 13, starting at 1 o'clock, ages 14 to 18, and then there's a special teams period in between there from 11:30 to 12:30. VFL's on hand as the Ollie Lane football camp. Brent Gibson, Johnny Hibbett, John Warren, Alan Duncan, as well as Andy Hibbett. All that this Saturday at Gibbs High School for only $50. Ollie, looking forward to seeing how this one goes. I know it'll be great, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on here.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your job faster and for free. It's not just like any other job board, LinkedIn. No, LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open for that perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're truly looking in the wrong place. Over 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional by using LinkedIn. 2.5 million small businesses are currently using LinkedIn for hiring, so why aren't you? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, well, they do apply. All right, welcome back into your Tuesday edition of Locked On Vols. I'm Eric Kane. Appreciate you guys for being here. We'll get into your mailbag edition of the show that is coming up next in segment number 3. But first, talking a little Tennessee baseball here. And, Tennessee just continues to do what it does, right? I mean, I wrote in the 3-2-1 that's coming out sometime today over at VolQuest.com. It almost feels, pretty routine at this point, right? I mean, you never want to take anything for granted, but what Tennessee baseball has done under Tony Vitello has been truly incredible the last couple of years, capping off the Knoxville Regional perfect with a 12-3 win over number 2 seed Southern Miss. That came on Sunday night, and Tennessee now goes on to Super Regional play for the 4th straight season. So, how much has this been the norm here lately? Well, 12-3, again, that was 12-3 win on Sunday. 4th straight Super Regional appearances. That's what Tennessee just punched its ticket to. The 6th straight at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in terms of winning that regional. Tennessee improves to 23-5 in regional games, played inside the stadium at Lindsey Nelson, and 26-7 in postseason games altogether at home. The program has won 12 straight regional games dating back to 2021. So in 2021, 22, 23, and then out here in 24, Tennessee has swept regional play on a perfect 12-0 record. If you go back, remember 2020, there was no regionals, no postseason, no SEC season as COVID canceled that. But in 2019, Tennessee went back to postseason play for the first time since 2005. That was only the second season under Tony Vitello here at Tennessee, and they went 2-2 in regional play, bowing out to I believe it was in UNC in the Chapel Hill Regional. But UT again going to its 4th straight Super Regionals under Tony Vitello, the 3rd of which played right here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in Knoxville, and Knoxville set to play in the 6th Super Regional appearance in program history. Remember, Supers used to not be a thing. They expanded the field, I want to say in 1999. 1999, they expanded the field to 64 teams, and they started doing 16 seeds, and they created the Super Regional play. So before 1999, you had, winning a regional, then you went to Omaha. And so Tennessee, since 1999, is playing in its 6th Super Regional in program history. It's just it's so normal right now, right? I mean, it's the expectation. And again, this weekend coming up in Super, Tennessee's going to play the Cinderella of them all. It's going to be Evansville. Evansville is let's see here. I'll get to it in a moment. I've got a lot of notes here in front of me, but my point is, I'll tell you exactly how many in a second, but few number 4 seeds ever have advanced on to Super Regional play. Only 9. There it is. 9 number 4 seeds historically in regional play have advanced on to win that region and go to Super Regionals. Evansville is, a part of that 9 now. And Tennessee is going to be an overwhelming favorite in Super Regional play. So it looks like the path to Omaha is just right there in front of you. But as Tony Vitello will be quick to remind you, I mean, these teams are here for a reason. They can pitch, they can hit, they can win clutch, games and high leverage situations. So you can't just assume anything. But media alike and fans, as we are here on the show, the path is there to go to Omaha in the College World Series for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. You got a great path. Odds are the best path to anybody else in the field. Got to take care of business, but you like what you see in front of you. But here's a little bit on Evansville. Evansville, 38-24 on the season, won the Greenville Regional as the 4 seed, outlasting the host seed in Eastern Carolina, the 16th overall seed in the tournament, 6-5 in that decisive Game 7 on Monday. Purple Aces knocked off Eastern Carolina on Friday, 4-1. They took down VCU, the 2 seed, on Saturday, 17-11. So just like Tennessee entering day 3 of regional play, just needed one more win to punch its ticket. Well, Eastern Carolina was able to get Evansville 19-6 on Sunday, but that didn't keep the Purple Aces down for long because they won that Game 7 on Monday by a score of 6-5. The first ever regional championship for the Purple Aces in program history, becoming, just again, as I mentioned earlier, the 9th team ever to make a Super Regional appearance after being seeded as the 4th seed in regional play. The program is playing in only its 4th NCAA tournament ever as a Division I program. It's won 8 of 9 games this postseason, dating back to the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. They've set single-season program records for doubles, runs scored, and home runs, and the 38 wins this year for Evansville is the 6th most ever for the program. This year marks the first NCAA appearance for Evansville since 2006, and the program won the Missouri Valley Conference earlier this year to punch its ticket as the number 3 seed. 17 wins in Missouri Valley Conference play this year was the most for the program since 2001. Ranks 2nd in the country with 153 doubles. So it does some things pretty well offensively. had the 67th highest RPI, 104th ranked strength of schedule, 4-8 in quad one games this year. That is Evansville. That is a Cinderella team. So, again, that's a little bit of a scout on Evansville. Certainly, Tennessee's got the team, got the roster, got the staff, got the lineup to advance on to supers, but Evansville's not going to let them go easy, that's for sure, but that'll take place here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium this weekend at the time of the recording. I don't know if it's going to be a Friday through Sunday or a Saturday through Monday super regional bout just yet. That'll be announced late Monday night or early Tuesday morning. So, of course, you guys know I'll go ahead and record this and get it over with. But, Tennessee and the Knoxville Regional, I mean, again, they didn't play their best baseball. It wasn't bad baseball at all, but didn't play their best baseball. Man, they cruised. 9-3 a win over Northern Kentucky on Friday, 12-6 a win over Indiana on Saturday, 12-3 a win over Southern Miss on Sunday. You combined all that, I think it was like 34, quick math here on the 24, it was 33-12. Tennessee outscored its opponents this weekend in Knoxville Regional play 33-12. And A.J. Causey, again, was the story on Friday in relief. He was phenomenal. You had Nate Snead that came on and picked up a Drew Beam, or actually that was Nate Snead on Sunday's game. But Drew Beam wasn't fantastic, but I thought Andrew Binky pitched really, really well for Tennessee on Saturday in the win over Indiana. And then it was Nate Snead picking up Xander Seacrest on Sunday after Xander Seacrest gave you a lot. He allowed 3 runs, but none of them were earned. He took a 105-mile-per-hour comebacker off the side of the leg right above the left knee, stayed in the game, struck out his next batter, finished the inning. Again, you just love so much about this team. Cal Stark homered twice. Tennessee breaks the single-season home run record with 159 on the year. That's one more than the 2022 team that had 158. So that happened during a 5-home-run day on Sunday. Cal Stark homered twice. Dylan Dreiling, Kavaris Tears had home runs with multiple guys on base. It was fun. It was a really, really fun weekend. Dean Curley hadn't homered I had it written up somewhere over the weekend, but Dean Curley's been fine. He's been hitting and everything, but he hadn't homered since like April the 7th. And so a span of, almost 2 months. And he homered twice this weekend, which was really, really great to see. Dylan Dreiling was regional MVP, hitting .538. Hunter Inslee made the all-regional team, hitting .417. Dean Curley was really good. Billy Amick, who only had 2 hits on the weekend, but he had 7 RBI, one of those being a grand slam. He made the all-regional team. So did Christian Moore. He made the all-regional team. A.J. Causey made the all-regional team. A lot to celebrate for Tennessee. As I said on the VolQuest podcast on Tuesday, it looked like the number 1 team in the country by a country mile. No pun intended. So I'm excited to see this team play. It's fun. I covered Tennessee baseball. I've been to, with the exception of 2 away trips, 1 away trip, with the exception of 1 away trip and 1 midweek game. I've been at every single game this year. And I've covered every single game this year. And it feels like a long season when it's in February and March, right? But when you're in postseason play, and even for me, it's fun. You get to cover a team in postseason play. That's exciting. It's thrilling. It's why you do it. And so it's fun for me, and I know it's fun for fans. So Tennessee baseball, a lot of the same. Just don't take it for granted, but just continuing to win games in postseason play and move on. So Tennessee will host Super Regional play against Evansville, the number 4 seed from the Greenville Regional, and certainly this year's Cinderella. That's all going to be at Lindsey Nelson Stadium this weekend, and we'll cover it right here on Locked On Vols. So we'll continue to get a look more in depth, the pieces that make up Evansville, all that and more coming up later in the week ahead of the Super Regional play, but get ready. It's going to be fun. More baseball to come at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Hey, when we come back, we'll answer your mailbag questions. All that and more coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. It is winner take all time in the NBA, in the NHL. Stanley Cup Finals are happening right now. FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home that big win of your own because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count right now. Again, Stanley Cup Finals happening right now. NBA, NBA playoffs happening right now. Major League Baseball is getting closer to the All-Star break. NASCAR on the weekends. You've got golf. There's so much going on right now to where you can put some coin in your pocket and have fun doing it. Have a rooting interest in the game that maybe your team's not playing in over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, it is America's #1 sportsbook. All right, we've got a final segment left here of this Tuesday edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you everydayers for sending in those questions, and we'll jump right down into it. Robo22 says, I know you're going to break down the regional championship on Tuesday's show, but my Tuesday question is if you would take some time to dive into the numbers of this baseball program from just before Tony was hired to what they are doing now. Without just, spending a couple hours breaking down exactly what all the numbers were before Tony Vitello came to be. You actually, Rob, you tagged me on Twitter on this as well. I mean, I would point to what Tony's done since he's been here. As I mentioned in the previous segment, 12-0 in the last 12 game win streak in regionals. Dating back to the 2019 regionals when they were 2-2, 350 win seasons, 4 straight super regional appearances, 2 SEC regular season championships, 2 SEC tournament championships, that being in 2022 and 2024, of course, 2 College World Series appearances. That was in 21 and 2023 last year. 2 home run season, or top 2 home run seasons in program history, that being 2022 and then of course this year. So many more that we can not even keep track of. I do know that before Tony, last time Tennessee was postseason bound was in 2005 when it went to Omaha in the College World Series. Last time Tennessee won the SEC was in 2005. Tennessee baseball's done so much under Tony Vitello. And if you look at what Arkansas has done, there was a stat, I should have bookmarked it, about what Arkansas has done offensively the last 7 postseason trips. Correlation there. Whenever you lose Tony Vitello, we see what Tennessee's done and see what Arkansas has done in postseason. I mean, that has a lot to do with, the guy that left the program that was over the hitters, right? And so Tennessee has just taken off on another gear with Tony Vitello, and we'll see how this season ends. I mean, again, the path is set for Omaha. We'll see if Tennessee can handle business this weekend and, see from there. But there's no reason if you're an outsider looking in or even a Tennessee fan. I mean, Tennessee fans always have confidence, but there's no reason to not believe that this Tennessee team can win a national championship this year. And that would be just simply incredible. Let's see here. Someone here on YouTube, hey, can you discuss why players, college players should or should not have agents to deal with all this NIL stuff floating around? They are. I mean, there are agents out there, there are handlers out there that are dealing with this and negotiating in this current climate. And so that's very much a real thing happening right now. Let's go to Viva Las Vols. Number 1, what do you think about the new entertainment district they are building? Construction on that is not supposed to be done for a couple years, right? So it's still a long ways away. With so much going on construction-wise on campus with Neyland Stadium, with Lindsey Nelson Stadium, with the Anderson Training Facility, I mean, there's cranes everywhere. It's nothing but a construction site. There's not been a whole lot of discussion about that entertainment district, but again, last I heard, it's still, planning to be a thing, and I think it'll be really, really cool and one of the more unique college experiences if you go to a game at Neyland or to Thompson Bowling or even to Lindsey Nelson. You can spend time over there beforehand. I think it'll look really, really cool. Still a little ways off, not going to be done anytime soon, but that's kind of on the back burner with some of the other bigger projects going on right now. But I mean, if that thing's going to be like the Battery Atlanta, sign me up because I think that'll be awesome. All-time Tony V baseball lineup. I can't remember if we did this on this podcast or the porch. I know we did on the porch at least because I had Luke help me, my co-host Luke Lipsius. Very quickly, I'll kind of skim over this right now. Catcher's unique because Evan Russell was a great hitting catcher. Of course, he played outfield as well throughout his Tennessee time. Connor Pavoloni was the best catcher overall. Cal Stark's a really, really good catcher. I guess I'll go with Connor Pavoloni, but Evan Russell in terms of the bat would probably be the pick there. So I'll go Connor Pavoloni just because I value defense at catcher, but Evan Russell deserves a lot of praise there. First base, man, Luke's my boy. We'll have him be a player coach. Got to go with Blake Burke. Second base is Christian Moore. It's not even close with all due respect to Max Ferguson. Shortstop would be Liam Spence probably. Liam Spence is a really, really good shortstop here at Tennessee. Third base, there's a lot of good candidates in my opinion. Billy's up there, although I know my buddy Matthew right now is cringing when I say this because he's an everydayer, even though he annoys me. He is an everydayer. Jake Rucker's up there for sure. Andre Lipsius has got to be in that conversation. Zane Denton had some clutch hits for Tennessee. I will go Jake Rucker. But that is a really, really good position that we could debate on. Outfield, I mean, Jordan Beck and Drew Gilbert out there for sure for me. Probably Alex Solare would be another one. Garrett Crochet, pitcher, relief pitcher, Redmond Walsh. But there's so many other guys we can have in this conversation, but just kind of a quick one. That's kind of where I would go. Number 3, have we ever seen a pitcher throw 90-plus pitches in 3 innings in a regional play like Indiana did? I have not seen it. I mean, goodness gracious. That dude was throwing so many pitches. He got a lot of talent, but, man, the location and Tennessee was kind of being patient and then being aggressive at the same time, jumping all over him. I've not ever seen that for sure. Let's go to Jared. Jared's got a couple of questions here. Number 1, I think it's fitting to ask, do you think Chase Burns has any regrets about leaving Tennessee? Not an SEC regular season champion, tournament champion. Would have likely been a starter again. Probably still would have been a first-round top 10 pick. Done just as good. Go get that money. Chase Burns, I don't know, man. I mean, I can say this. It was never guaranteed that he was going to be a starter again here at Tennessee. I think they would obviously give him an opportunity, but they had to remove him from the starting rotation last year because he wasn't getting it done. And so I don't think it was ever guaranteed. Not saying it wouldn't happen, but guaranteed that he was going to be a starter again. But from the outside looking in, he made his money in name, image, likeness. He's going to be a top 6 or 7 pick. He's in a good spot. But, I think that he probably wanted to come back here in super regional play and beat Tennessee for sure because, of course, all the fans were and, people making comments about him on the way out. But I'm sure he had, not second thoughts, but I'm sure that he was keeping a close eye on Knoxville for sure this year and everything going on with Tennessee. A couple more questions here from Jared. Number 2, should this offense be considered the best in Tennessee history? Set the single-season home run record as a team, 3rd nationally, 1st in BB core era. Had the individual career home run record broken by SEMO. Lineup 1 through 9 absolutely blisters just about everybody. I'm willing to say yes, because I think it's the most complete lineup. Now, again, we look at 2022 and it was incredible, but 2022 was dominant. And they were dominant in pitching as well. Way more dominant pitching-wise than the lineup. And the lineup was not bad, don't get me wrong. But I'm with you, man. What this team's done with home runs, with the average, with how they've spread the wealth, bottom of the order. I would say yes for Tennessee for sure, in my opinion. Number 3. If you were creating 1 to 2 wide receivers in this video game with limited points to use, what would you set as the highest weight, speed, agility, catching, blah, blah, blah? Okay, I see what you're doing here. I don't have time to do all that. But I will say outside receiver, I like 6'2" to 3-ish, maybe 4-ish. I don't mind a tall receiver, obviously. I don't want anything below 6'2", really. I lean more 6'3". I like them to weigh around 200 pounds. Dante Thornton's the perfect example, in my opinion. You got to be able to put it together and, play. But, his skill set frame for an outside receiver is what I want. For a slot receiver, I would love another Velus Jones, but Velus Jones looked like a running back but ran like a receiver. So he was very, very unique. I like Squirrel White. Preferably not have anybody as small as Squirrel White, but I do like Squirrel White. But if I had to pick, man, I like Velus Jones, his measurables there. In the slot because I think he just kind of is like a pinball. He bounces all over the place, and he was really, really good in this offense. Let's move on. Make sure I get enough of everybody here. Let's go to. See, I got one more. Thought I had more. I got one more. Let's go to Taylor. In what I would consider the modern era of Tennessee athletics, post Fulmer and Summit, where would you rank Coach Vitello in terms of coaches across all sports at Tennessee? It's a really, really good question to end on. And I know there's been some more, and I've starred them, I marked them, and I'm going to come back and maybe make some segments out of them. So I do appreciate you guys. Anytime you have any thoughts or questions, please send them in. If I don't immediately get back to them, trust me, I'm bookmarking them and visiting them again. You've seen already this week. I've done a little bit on that. Taylor, this is a really, really good question. So in the modern era of Tennessee athletics, post-Fulmer and Summit, where would you rank Coach Vitello in terms of coaches across all sports at Tennessee. All right, so if you're saying, let me see if I get the question right specifically. In what I would consider the modern era of Tennessee athletics, post-Fulmer and Summit, where would you rank Coach Vitello in terms of coaches across all sports at Tennessee? So if we're taking those two out of the equation, Rick Barnes is up there for sure. Tony Vitello is obviously up there. Josh Heupel's on his way to being up there. Bruce Pearl's got to have a conversation in this for sure. Ralph and Karen Weekly have to have conversations in this without a doubt. But what do you value more, right? Basketball means more to the university than baseball does from a financial standpoint and from a fan base standpoint. And Rick Barnes has done just incredible work here at Tennessee, and he took Tennessee as far as it's ever gone in program history this past year to the Elite Eight. So that's something. However, Tony Vitello has reached the quote-unquote Elite Eight twice already, and we'll see what happens this year. Tennessee has finished as high as, I think, 5th at the College World Series. So in this modern era here, this modern era of Tennessee athletics, post-Fulmer and post-Summit, you've got to put Vitello at the top, in my opinion. Vitello would be at the top. You would have probably Rick Barnes number 2, the Weeklies at number 3, and the Weeklies have a conversation to be higher because they're kind of crossed over in both those eras, if you will. We'll see what Josh Heupel does, but I mean it's got to be Tony Vitello, right? Just based on the success that he's had here in such a short amount of time. Really, really good question, and depending on how you view that era that you speak of, you could have some different answers. So nonetheless, great stuff. Taylor, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all you guys for sending in your questions, your comments, your concerns. Appreciate Ollie Lane for joining the show, talking about his camp. If you need something to do this Saturday, I encourage you to send your kids to that camp and let Ollie get a hold of them and teach them a little bit about football. That'll be a whole lot of fun, and we'll continue to break down the Super Regional coming up later this week and everything going on with Tennessee sports right here on Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys. You can find us, subscribe to us, watch us, listen to us, download us, all that for free wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on the Locked On Vols YouTube channel by hitting that subscription button and turning on those notifications for when a new episode drops. Thank you guys so much. We'll do it again tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.